Welcome to Vic Sports Center here. We are actually standing next to the brand new 520c Carbon Edition. And a lot of people have been calling in asking what the difference is between a Carbon and a regular 520c. And basically the Carbon Edition, most of it has to do with cosmetic things like the first ever anodized red Atlas jack plate, okay, a revolutionary new ladder which pops down, pops back into place. One of the biggest things you'll notice right off the bat is the paint job. Okay, it is actually a base coat, clear coat, just like your automotive, so your car. So it actually has an automotive paint finish on the top deck. It still has the flake on the inside, and there are flake pins, and there's flake throughout the stripes on the boat. But the top deck is actually a metallic base coat, clear coat. First time ever doing that on a boat. And so it's a really revolutionary boat. The 520c itself is an absolutely amazing machine. A lot of the things that they've done to this boat to make it better and better over the years, Ranger is just always striving to be the best on the market. One thing that you can notice in the back that they have done, compared to a regular 520c of last year, they made the back end of the boat a little bit deeper. It makes it so when you come off plane, no water comes over the back of the boat, or very minimal amounts of water. They changed a little bit how they ran their hydraulic steering lines. You notice it has a stainless steel bracket here with both the lines coming out. Very clean, just a great look right there. Rigging tube coming across. This boat rigged with that Mercury 250XS, man, it really, really matches because that lower unit and the boat actually match. The red and the silvers and the blacks on the boat, on the motor, this whole package is just unbelievable. This particular boat does have the touring package on it also, and I know you can see the aluminum alloy wheels, the American racing wheels, but it is more than that to the touring package. Touring package includes the aluminum alloy wheels, a parking brake, which we'll look at here in a little bit. Also comes with an oxygenator in the live well, a full Ranger cover, which is a huge feature on these boats. Their covers are incredible. A Keel Guard, and then also the touring package decals, which just sets the whole thing off. Okay, we're up on the very front nose of the boat right now, where hopefully you're spending most of your time up here fishing. And one thing they've done is they've had this recessed trolling motor pedal forever. But as a lot of people know, when you recess your trolling motor pedal and the fish finder is right in front of it, your trolling motor cable is constantly getting in front of your fish finder. It's just a little pet peeve that a lot of people have mentioned, and Ranger has definitely listened. So what they've done is they've offset the fish finder panel to the right a little bit. So now your trolling motor pedal's here, your cable actually comes out through a tool holder. There's no way for this cable to get in front of this fish finder now, because it's actually held in this slot. They put tool holders up here and a cup holder for either a pop or water or for fish formula. Tool holders are wonderful in these boats. I gotta tell you, I notice when I go fishing, I don't get to do as much bass fishing as I'd like, but I can tell you when I do get out there, I'm constantly looking for my hemostats or my pliers, and it's great to have them in place. You don't have to worry about leaving them on the deck and them blowing out when you take off. Everything's, you know, very secure sitting right there. Up front here, you can actually go up to an HDS 10 or a 11 series Hummingbird in the front bow panel too. Everything recessed in, very neat, very clean looking. Again, all your controls up here for your live wells, for your bilge pumps, everything is set right here, so you don't have to walk to the back to even turn your live wells on. Boom, if you want to turn them up timer wise, you can adjust them here also. Trim and tilt for your motor, so if you're getting in shallow water, you can trim it up. This particular boat's equipped with a 101 Fortrex. Great trolling motor with the lift assist. When you're putting your trolling motor down, once it gets down about halfway, it takes almost half the weight of that trolling motor off your handle. Makes it real easy. You can almost let it go and it'll drop down in the water without banging in the boat. And when you're bringing it up, makes it 50% easier. So just a great feature. Very tight tolerances on the Fortrex, so they don't shake a lot when you're running them, when you're on the trolling motor, especially at high thrust. So in the old days, a lot of people had trouble when you got to 70, 80, 90, or 100 pound thrust on your trolling, or 100% of thrust on your trolling motor. The trolling motor would rock, and you get a lot of noise out of it. These new ones are super tight. Been just a great new trolling motor out on the market. It's really working out good for us. Onto the front deck of the 520c. One thing they've done different is for the first time on a 520, we actually have a day box in front of the consoles. Most of the time the 520s have always had a rod locker here, another big compartment here that you could put rods in, but now with the center rod locker, there's no reason to have a port and starboard rod locker. So the center rod locker, which is here, you can put 8 rods up the center, or you can arrange this thing with planos right down the line, however you'd like to do it. You can put planos down the sides. The storage is amazing in these boats, okay? But one thing that the 520 was always lacking was a compartment right in front of your console that you don't have to, that you can sit right here and actually get your stuff. I call it terminal tackle, the stuff you know you're going to use that day, whether it be drop shot weights or whether it be, you know, worm weights or whatever rubber baits you're going to use for that day. Whatever you're using, if it's crankbaits that day, keep it in this box. It's the quick, easy box. You're sitting in a great position. They also added a bunch of tool holders in this boat, okay, and which is really great. So you can have all your pliers, whatever you would like here and here. You have your bump board built right into the side of the right here. So when you catch a fish, you don't have to open another compartment to get to your bump board. Boom, grab it, measure it, and go. You also have a cooler here, which is a great spot for it because it actually acts as a step up on the front deck. So when you're stepping from the bottom of the boat, you get to here and up to here. You don't have to make that real large step right up on the top deck. But again, the day box is definitely new in the 520Cs. Last year, 520Zs did not have a day box here. It was one of the things they were missing. So it's a great new feature. They also, if you can tell from there, widen the front deck of the boat. And what they've done is made the boat just a little bit wider than last year, but they've also narrowed the gunnels. If you look, the gunnels are very straight up and down, okay, and have a very flat top deck. But with that, it narrowed this area probably by 2 or 3 inches on each side, and that gives you a huge front deck. And what a lot of people don't realize is one of the most important things when you're walking up on your front deck is how much room there is between the butt seat and the side of the boat. Because every time you hop up here, you have to walk here. Look at a lot of our competitors' boats, they're narrow up in the nose, and when you walk by, you actually, a lot of people will turn sideways to come past here. Now this boat's so wide here, you can walk right past it, get up onto your front deck, get to your trolling motor, drop your trolling motor down and start fishing. So they also added a second pedestal position. So if you're taller and you want to be back a little bit further, you keep it in this hole. If you're a little shorter, move it up to the front and you're right there at your trolling motor pedal. Padded front deck. They actually recessed this very front of this deck down a little bit. On the old boats, there was a very abrupt mark right here where you can see going up on your padding. Now they've recessed this front deck a little bit. The padding doesn't really show. But the front deck from here forward does have closed cell rubber foam underneath it. See, when you're walking up here, it's like walking in your living room. Just another great feature of the Ranger that it's just a step above. That's all there is to it. Hey, we're at the console area of the new 520C, and it is amazing what they've done here. First of all, these consoles look like something out of Transformers. They're incredible looking. The first thing you'll notice is that you can actually fit huge fish finders right into the console. So this is an HDS 8, and I know they make an HDS 10, and they make an 1198 Hummingbirds, the big Hummingbirds, and they will fit right into this dash. Now, there's no doubt that there's going to be a lot of people that are also going to want one on the other side, and we can definitely mount to either here or over to the gunnel, more than likely here with a big ram mount, and we can actually mount another unit here, but to be able to put a large unit in the dash is fantastic. The next part on the Carbon Edition is this race-style steering wheel, which it looks incredible. Looks like a steering wheel out of a Ferrari. It's awesome. We do have trim and tilt on both sides because this particular boat has the hydraulic jack plate. So we have the hydraulic jack plate and we have the trim and tilt right there at your fingertips. You can actually keep both hands on the wheel with the hot foot that's mounted down here. You have your gas pedal, you have your trim and tilt. Both hands on the wheel when you're doing that 70 miles an hour across the lake. It really gives you a lot of great control. Another thing about the consoles is they do have a new touchpad system, which is very different than last year's Ranger's touchpad system. And with that being said, All the same all the same options as the ones last year, except for they've actually added one now, where Rangers, we talked a little bit about how their compartment lids are very thick, and one thing about a Ranger also, everything is foamed all throughout the Ranger, so there's very little heat transfer into their boxes. But the one thing it also does not have is any airflow through their boxes. So this new feature that they have now is when your power's on and you can have your battery charger plugged in, at the end of the day, you can turn on your fan. And that fan right there, and you can hear it just turn on, will actually blow air into all the compartments in this boat. Now, what does that mean for you? If you're out there fishing all day in the rain, you have a lot of moisture in your boat, you have to go back to the hotel and put a cover on your boat because you're at a tournament, you don't have the ability to put it in a garage. You can actually turn that fan on, blow air in all your compartments. You don't get that moisture in your compartments, moisture in your tackle boxes. It just keeps everything nice and crisp and dry in your compartments, and that's going to be a great feature for the guy that heads out on the road. You know, when you're bringing it home and you're putting it in your garage and you're able to open up all your compartments, you know, it's not that huge of a deal, but on the road, that's a really, really great feature. So that's a new part of the Ranger 520c. Another thing is the consoles are actually not attached to the side gunnels. So it's the first boat I've ever seen with the consoles not attached to the side gunnels. What that gives you is the ability to lay rods all the way down the side of the boat, number one. Number two, it obviously gives it an incredible look. And number three, it eliminates any areas right in here where there's any harsh turns that you get 10 years or 15 years from now that you get any kind of stress cracks or anything like that on the consoles of your boat. So just a really revolutionary console. I'm sure it took a ton of work at the Ranger Research and Development Department, but this thing's amazing and the look is just incredible. So it's definitely a big part of the new boat. Okay, we're back inside the boat now, and what we're looking at now is the new live well system that Ranger has come up with for these 520Cs. And basically it's a one-door system, so one door to lift up, and then it also has the plexiglass shields in here. It really makes it nice for the guy that wants to open up this whole live well and doesn't have to worry about the lid falling back down, and then he can just slide his door. Without these doors though, these live wells are so big and they keep the fish so alive. A lot of people complain that the fish could jump out of the live well when they're in a tournament situation, they're not watching, they're trying to get another fish in the live well. So now we have sliding doors. It's going to be a great little feature. Also in the live wells, there's lights, and like I said, there's the oxygenator, circulating, recirculating live wells, and pump outs. So you could be sitting in the water and actually drain some of the water out of your live wells just by pulling a valve. On the back side of the lids, on the Carbon Edition, is also a carbon look. It's a carbon fiber look on the back side of the lids. Again, this carbon is really, really finished out. Their attention to detail is amazing. So on the back side of all the lids is all carbon. It's absolutely beautiful. Setting it apart from the rest of the boats out there. On all these Rangers, on the 5 Series Rangers, another nice thing about them is all of their compartment latches actually suck the lid down. They're cam locks, okay? So most everybody else has a lid that goes down, you turn it, and you put the latch down. When you do that on this, and I'm not sure if you can see when you're filming or not, it actually sucks that lid down to go up against the Ranger double seal all the way around your compartment. So these are the driest compartments possible. There's no way to make them any drier. Another thing that a lot of people don't realize on a Ranger is how thick their lids are. And if you can kind of see with my fingers, okay, Ranger lids are not just a fiberglass lid. They actually have a core to them, and it's a pressed together lid. There's actually insulation in the middle of it, like foam, so you don't get as much condensation and heat transfer in your boxes. So just one other little step that Ranger does that no one else does. Everyone else has a one-piece lid. Sure. In the center here, we actually have a glove box, which is very nice. And they did just now start offering a full bench seat in the 520Cs as a new option. And a lot of the tournament guys do like to have just a rubber step pad here, so you can step up onto your back deck. Another new thing that Ranger did on the 520Cs, and actually they're doing them across the line now, they're using a little different material in their seats. And as everyone can see that has owned a boat or has looked at used boats, you get a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, even 10-year-old boat, and you'll start seeing the seams on the seats come apart, okay? One thing Ranger's now doing is they're putting in a line of vinyl, but it almost feels like polyester to say, that is, or like nylon, that has a little bit of flex to it. So it's not like the normal leather that they have. They have this inserted here right on the seams where you're sitting, okay? And that actually will let these seats flex a little bit more and hopefully will keep the seams together for a lifetime. The other nice thing about Ranger, this material, is it's cooler. So if you actually had black right here, and this is more like a black tweed, this part of the seat would be almost 10 degrees warmer than this part of the seat. So this stuff really does stay cool. It reflects light a little bit instead of absorbing it. So it's a great material. Ranger's using it on a lot of their seats now, which is a great move. We know that everyone likes dark colored seats because it looks fantastic in a boat, but we also know what happens when it's 100 degrees and high sun out there. Those things could really fry you. So neat new products that they're coming out with, putting them in these new boats, it's working out really great. Okay, we're back to this 520 Carbon Edition. A couple things to point out. First of all, they're rope cleats. Wonderful, they just pop up. You don't have to worry about getting your rod tips hung underneath them and breaking a rod. So when you want to tie up, you just pop them up, they're there. Very clean, all stainless steel. Next thing, navigation lights. Wonderful. Built in now, one on this side, one on the other. Just flip the switch on and you're done. No more light pole, getting up and putting a light pole in, which is great for the tournament guy because he gets up in the morning, heads out there early in the morning. We blast them off at the tournament. They have to have their navigation light in place. And then when they get there, they have to take it out, put it down in a compartment. Just one less step. Just shut your switch off and you're all set. Another thing is your parking brake. We talked about this a little bit earlier with part of the touring package. What a wonderful feature. This parking brake, all it really does is it pushes on a cylinder that applies oil to your disc brakes back there. Wonderful feature for when you're on the road. You can just pull into your parking lot at the hotel, flop it. You don't have to worry about chalks or anything like that. It's wonderful. The other thing that's on this particular boat with the touring package is the Keel Guard. And this is a Hamby's Keel Guard, not a stick-on one with just double-sided tape. These things are actually fiberglassed on. Hamby's are about 1.5 inches thick. Really, really protect the bottom of your boat. Really great for the guy that goes fishing alone alone. He can just pull up on shore real easy, hop out, go get his truck, back it down in, go load his boat. So without worrying about damaging the front of his boat. All the Ranger trailers have spray-on bed liner basically. It's called road armor on them. So no more paint on the trailers. Makes it very, very durable. Another thing about the Ranger trailers is they're all C-channel. A lot of people don't realize when they're looking at other boat brands that they have tube trailers. The problem with a tube trailer is it holds moisture inside the frame. They don't sit there, a lot of people think, oh, this trailer will hold up just as good. It really doesn't because they do not paint the inside tubes of those trailers. So you have raw steel sitting in there, you dip that thing in the water, now it's wet, everybody knows it's just going to start rusting, and there's nothing they can do. Yeah, they put holes in them to drain them, but I can tell you that those become weak spots on the trailers, and 10, 15 years down the line you start getting broken trailers. The problem is you have a 15-year-old boat and you have a bad trailer, they're $5,000 to $6,000 to buy a new trailer, and you're dumping a lot of money into an older boat. So people really get themselves in a situation there and they don't know what quite to do. With the Rangers, again, these things hold up extremely well. LED lights everywhere, C-channel frame, no place to hold the water, road armor, no rock chips, really works out great. The next part is a swing-away tongue. Takes almost 2 feet off of the trailer length, which is wonderful for people trying to get them in their garages. We know that's always a garage space issue. So back them in, swing the tongue, get you a little bit longer boat in that garage. So just a wonderful trailer. Fiberglass fenders, surge disc brakes on both axles, which is a requirement over in a lot of states neighboring us. Pennsylvania has to have tandem axle brakes. Really works out great. You don't have to add anything to a Ranger trailer. It comes standard with all those features when you get the touring package, and it includes a spare tire, which in a lot of boats, again, you have to add a lot of things to the other brands of boats to get up to what is standard on a Ranger. Just a great all-around rig.